We're taking a moment. You know, there's an old theory out there to fighting an illness that goes starve a cold and feed a fever. Have you ever heard of that? Well, does that really work? What does that really mean? We're going to talk about this. An assistant professor from the Salk Institute who is here. Joining me this morning is Dr. Janelle Ayres. Good morning to you, Dr. Janelle.
Hello.
She's an assistant professor at the Salk Institute. This is interesting because we were talking about this, and I was trying to wrap my head around what this study that you did is. Because, yeah, oftentimes we would, starve a cold and feed a fever, right? That was our way of thinking on how to feel better.
Exactly.
But you studied something a little bit different. It was kind of the opposite.
We studied something a little different. So just some background on the study before I get into the findings. One of the main focuses of my research team at the Salk Institute is we are looking at overuse of antibiotics. And this is a huge problem because it's contributing to antibiotic resistance, and that's leading to people dying from untreatable infections. So our approach is we actually want to understand how bacteria are interacting with our bodies so that we can manipulate the bacteria themselves, tame their behavior, prevent them from even being able to cause disease when they're in our bodies to promote patient survival.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so what did you find? Because you took a look, like you said, at this study. You're looking at the loss of appetite and why we're losing our appetite when we feel sick, when we get sick, right?
Right. So what we found, again, all your viewers know when we get an infection, when we get sick, we often lose our appetite. And what we found was that salmonella, which is a common foodborne pathogen, when it's in our intestines, it can actually manipulate our brain circuitry to suppress that loss of appetite response that occurs during infection. And we found that by suppressing that response, it encourages its host to actually eat during the infection. And just by eating, that promotes survival of its hosts.
So you want to be hungry.
So in the context of salmonella and likely other gastrointestinal infections, we think feeding is going to be beneficial for the outcome.
Wow. Okay. And so in terms of that's a scary thought of being resistant, though, to antibiotics.
It's incredibly scary. It's a huge problem right now. So that's why in my lab, the main focus of fighting infections has really been just that. How do we fight infections? How do we kill infections? And so in my lab, we're taking a different approach by understanding how we can manipulate the behavior of these microbes in our body to prevent them from even causing disease when they're in our bodies.
And then this can also translate, though, for patients who are dealing with like other more, serious illnesses or diseases, or going through pretty intensive therapies like chemotherapy. I know that was one of the things that you looked at as well.
So we think that our findings, while our discoveries were made in preclinical work, we do think that our findings are going to have important implications for human medicine. On the infectious disease front, our data suggests that we can likely treat infections such as salmonella and other types of infectious diseases by more simpler means. So nutritional intervention, overcoming the use of antibiotics. And just as you say, there are a number of non-infectious disease settings where loss of appetite is a problem for cancer patients, for patients undergoing chemotherapy. So by understanding this intestine-brain circuitry and appetite control, we can probably manipulate that for those patient populations. And we also think that we can turn this on its flip side and use this in settings where overconsumption of food is a problem, such as in metabolic diseases.
Very interesting. Dr. Janelle Ayres with the Salk Institute. Thanks for sharing part of this study.
Thanks for having me.
Important research being done right here in our backyard. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day.
Thanks.